You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
Massive human trafficking. It's a record 288 people arrested.
They're not reporting the real numbers.
The numbers are segmented and they are fictitious.
I started my career in 1997 in the United States Border Patrol. It was one of the most violent times in recent Border Patrol history. I made my bones and my reputation on that border. I believe what is happening on the border today is intentional.
We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them.
Our own government is facilitating the absolute destruction of the American immigration system, and I can prove it point by point. I'm unafraid to speak the truth. This is just data-driven and experience-driven.
What is it about this grant that you and EPA believe is problematic enough to freeze this funding and put potentially 31,000 children at risk?
Senator, who is the grant applicant?
This is to the city of Santa Ana.
You have the biggest, you have the biggest state, so we're going to have to go through every single list of the grant. Well, by the way, with that wind-up, by the way, I understand that you were an aspiring fiction writer. I see why.
Oh, yeah. Well, I understand your view that you can cut half of the agency and it won't affect people's health or their water, their air. That, to me, is a big fiction, Mr. Zeldin.
And forgot about the fact of cleaning up
I have to think,
LA
Mr. Zeldin,
wildfires.
I think, Mr. Zeldin, if your children were drinking water, if your children were drinking water in Santa Ana, Mr. Zeldin, maybe you wouldn't be so cavalier about whether there was lead in their water. Maybe you would give a damn instead of coming in here and suggesting that any grant that takes lead out of the water must be waste, fraud, or abuse because you need
time has expired.
The money for a tax cut for rich people because you're totally beholden to the oil industry. You could give a rat's ass about how much cancer your agency causes.
The gentleman's time has expired. The chair recognizes herself.
Student was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you revoked her student visa based on an op-ed which trumps the Supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up here to stir up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't do any of that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
she wrote an op-ed, and I'm talking to you about her particular case.
Claims and your claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa because she wrote an op-ed.
Would you revoke? We're going to do more. We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest who's here to stir up trouble.
Are you going to revoke the visa of somebody who made that?
Send me the case. I'll look at it. I'm looking to get crazy people out of our country.
Actually, it's not just about revoking. You actually, Secretary Rubio, excuse me, reclaiming my time. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrest, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So I can't stress enough how high up Anita Dunn was. She was basically part of the council of presidents. Dave, we didn't have a president in the
right.
We had a council of these unelected people that you've never even heard of. And they're Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, and Steve Ricchetti. 3 of them were running the country. Most Americans, I would say maybe like 1%, if that, have heard of them.
Yes, we canceled a bunch of contracts in USAID. Some were stupid and outrageous. Others didn't serve the national interest, and others we kept. And we are folding it under the Department of State. And you know why? Because we want it to be part of the toolbox of foreign policy, not a standalone. It is not charity. Foreign aid is not charity. It is designed to further the national interest of the United States.
I conducted an individual review of everything, and that concept doesn't work for you.
When did you conduct that individualized review of
781
grants?
We have a zero tolerance
policy. Will you show me your schedule?
We inherit something. You don't care about wasting money.
Will you show me your schedule?
You don't care about wasting money, but the Trump administration does, Senator.
Will you show me your schedule?
Our schedule's publicly released. We don't put on the schedule every single moment of the day.
Will you show me your schedule to prove your assertion that you did individualized review of 781?
I'm under oath telling you that I was reviewing this stuff and working on it almost every single day.
And the problem
because
with
when I was before this committee, I was asked by Senator Ricketts, if confirmed, would I immediately make this a top priority to go through all the grant funding going through EPA, to make sure that we are cracking down on every waste, every aspect of abuse. Because I have to come back here in front of Senator Ricketts today. And even though you don't care about wasting tax dollars, Senator Ricketts does.
And the
I'm
problem,
going to do my job because the American public cares about us not wasting tax dollars.
And the problem with your assertion here today is that it is belied by your own employees' sworn statements in court and by the decision of the Department of Justice to admit that what you say isn't true.
You're not grasping the fact that we would have multiple employees looking at these grants. That concept just escapes you like that's even a possibility.
The only thing about that is that that's not true.
You don't care about 99% of the story.
That's not true according to your own employees'
You're not grasping
testimony.
I don't know what to say to you. You're insisting on the fact.
I'm insisting on the facts. That's exactly what I'm insisting on. I'm insisting on the facts, and I now have 3 different versions of the facts, including Department of Justice lawyers
are working on this every single day
admitted in court that what you're saying now is not true.
We're not going to waste dollars just because you insist on EPA lighting taxpayer dollars on fire. The American taxpayers, they put President Trump in office because of people like you. They have Republicans in charge of the House and Senate because of people like you, because you don't care about 99% of this story. You don't want me to go through the list of all the evidence of waste and abuse.
No, what I want you to do,
in conflicts of interest.
What I want you to do,
unqualified recipients. You don't care about
what I want you to do.
Amen. And hallelujah and everything else you want to throw on that. Welcome to Truth with J.J. Carrell. And that is how you talk to the enemy. That is how you look them right in the eye and call them all the vile names that they have earned. That is how you stand there in front of them and don't cower, and you just level the truth right on them. And you call them everything they are: traitors, liars, incompetent, have no ability to understand. That is what we have to do. That is how we deal with these people. This is what we need to do, all of us, not just Lee Zeldin and Marco Rubio and Lee, the young lady that was speaking about the Democrats. No, all of us need to speak this way. Look, I just came back from a very good speech to we the people in Johnson County, Missouri. About 50, 75 people. And I told them the same thing I'm going to tell you, because I get the question all the time. Well, what do we do? What do we do? Well, what you do is how you start is you speak boldly. You speak boldly. And you're unafraid. Stop being afraid. You know what you believe in. You know why you believe it. And you know why you're grounded in that belief. It starts with God. They, the other side, don't believe in God. That's why they can kill babies. Because they believe there's nothing out there that's going to give them retribution. That's why they're untethered. That's why they have the ability to steal money, lie, have multiple affairs, be sexually perverse, kill babies, mutilate children because of their gender ideology insanity, because they're not tethered to God. Why is it that conservatives are so civil? Well, because we know that there is a higher power, God, that is going to judge our words and our actions. So we are more careful. What my plea to the American public and to people when I go give speeches, it be 500 people at a Lincoln Day dinner, 1,000 people on a Zoom call, or 50, 75 people as this last one in Missouri, a small We the People gathering. My plea to them is stop listening to the Christian propaganda, the religious propaganda that has been thrust upon us for decades, that Jesus is this, or God, or as we believe, Jesus and God is one in the Holy Spirit, that there's some hippie freaks, sexually perverse freaks, that God created the 10 suggestions and not the 10 commandments. And that you have to turn the other cheek for eternity as your enemy destroys you. That's not what God said. That is not who God is. God destroyed complete civilizations because of Sodom and Gomorrah type activities. Are you telling me that we're not worse than Sodom and Gomorrah? Are you really? You're going to try to have that argument with me? My point is, stop being this limp-wristed, impotent, cowardly Christians. Stop. Because that's a lie. That's not what God wanted. He wanted you to be strong. He wanted you to be civil until you can't be civil anymore. Then he wants you to have the strength and the courage that he built inside you to fight the enemy. And the enemy is Satan. And if you don't believe Satan is roaming this earth, you are a fool. Are you telling me that Satan, I say Satan doesn't roam earth anymore. Satan patrols with his armies. Mutilation of children's bodies by the hands of their parents. Think of how evil you have to be to sexually alter, destroy your child. When your child then turns 18, 19, 20, 25, 30, and they're mutilated, how do you think that's going to end? 60 million babies plus just in America killed Roe v. Wade. We have transgender men teaching our children in our schools. That's not evil? 50, 60, 70% divorce rate. 25 to 50 to 70 to 80% illegitimacy rate, depending on what race you are. Gender ideology confusion in the significant percentage of our youth. You don't think that's evil? How can you look at the world today and not understand that you are in a war for the soul of your nation? How can you think that it's okay? And we are being attacked from all fronts. And from the political front, Donald Trump has given us the textbook example how to deal with these people, to the Adam Schiffs, to the White Houses, Mr. White House, is you attack them. You attack them with facts, knowledge, and certainty that you are correct because you've done your research and they are mental patients, and you need to talk to them like that. You must talk to these people in very determined and strong tones. Lee Zeldin, that's how you do it. Call them out. Yell right at them. Tell them they're wrong. Tell them they're incompetent, because they are. One of our sponsors that I'm glad to be a part of is bellagrace.com. I did their elixir challenge, their daily elixir challenge for 30 days, and I am still on it, and I applaud their product. There's nights where I'm prepping for my show for the next day, and I can't sleep. I get wound up. I'm looking at this insanity, and I need to take something to help me calm down and go to sleep. And I don't want to take something melatonin loaded or some kind of pharmaceutical narcotic. I need something natural. So I take the sleep restoration from bellagrace.com. They have a plethora of products for your health that start with your gut. How do we take our power back? We take our power back by being healthy as the starting point. And then we become prepared for the war. And then we fight in the war. Shop bellagrace.com/truth. Caleb, can you play this commercial?
As a practitioner with a very large practice, at the very end of the day, I tended to be a little bit worn out. I wasn't covering from taking care of patients. In January, before we pre-launched the company, I was one of the very first people to get the 15-day samples. And right away, I was connected to the Bella Grace Collagen Elixir. Just an overall feeling of wellness, but also a little more energy. I recovered in my workouts, sleeping just more soundly, and then waking up the next day ready to take it on. For me, it was the power of three: the cat's claw, the astaxanthin, and of course, the best, most studied Verisol collagen on the market today.
I believe in that product. ShopBellaGrace.com/truth. ShopBellaGrace.com/truth. Another product that I believe in, and I talking about this. Number one thing, get healthy. You cannot fight, you can't function if you're not healthy. We've all been there, right? Got a cold, sick, God forbid you get cancer, something. You're in survival mode. You can't imagine running down the street and fighting, or getting in a debate with someone, or protecting your child. You have to be healthy first. And the second thing I preach is be prepared. You must be prepared, and you need to start thinking of how you're going to react. One thing we did in law enforcement was when we sat in our squad cars, we were taught this by our journeyman agents and our field trained officers. Hey man, when you're sitting in your car and it's a dead time, maybe start running scenarios through your mind. If this happens, what do I do? If this happens, who do I have to call? What's the procedures? Who do I need to call? How do I call them? How do I reach them? What are the questions they're going to ask me? How am I going to be able to respond? Do I have a notepad? How am I transcribing everything I'm seeing? How do I notate it? Then if there's a shooting and I respond to that, what's my tactical way I'm going to do it? Someone allegates against me. What is the allegation protocol to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted to protect me? That's the same thing I'm saying to you. Think about what you need. Think about how you need to be prepared, and then make those preparations. So one of our sponsors that we use, who I partner with, is sat123.com. And sat123.com has an enormous selection of products that make you prepared for craziness. And if you don't think we live in crazy times, then I think you're crazy. I have a young son. He's going to be driving soon. We have sat phones because I've thought out what happens if my son gets in an accident. What happens if my son runs off in the ditch in the middle of Kansas, or he has a problem and his cell phone doesn't work? Well, he has a sat phone. I can get it. He can contact me. Now I can help him. sat123.com/JG. Call the screen number on my screen. And one of the people that they have an incredible group of individuals, Sat123. One of them is Chris. Chris comes on my show every week. So Chris, welcome to our show. And I want to discuss one of your products that I have been promoting more than anything, because I believe it is the most impactful for my life and for what I cherish the most. Before we get into that, how are you doing? I'm hoping that the weather is terrible in Colorado, or is it a beautiful spring day?
Well, there are tornadoes somewhere, but not at the house right now, JJ, thank goodness.
Good for you. When's your next trip to the tropics?
Well, my brother-in-law just had a new baby, so probably be pretty soon, but I'll make sure to get those palm trees in the background if I'm on your show at that time.
Yeah, do that. Just make me upset as I'm stuck in middle America with no water in sight. Absolutely. Chris, one of the greatest, the greatest gift God has given me and my wife is our son, Joseph. And one of the things, he's 13, going to 7th grade, just graduated 7th grade, going in 8th grade, middle school, goes to a very good school, very secure. But as I drop him off, I know nothing's secure from everything, right? Nothing is. And school shootings have been on the rise. in America. There were 83 of them in 2024, 83 school shootings in 2024. Do you remember, Chris, when there was one like Columbine? That was like sensational, right? No one could believe that that can happen. That anomaly, that insanity has become the norm in America. And one of the ways that I protect my son, Chris, is I give him your backpack, your SAT 123 backpack that has a ballistic shield in it. And before we talk about that, so we have some context, I want to show you a video. It's about 2.5, 3 minutes long, but I chose it because I want the audience and I want to have your reaction on it. This is America. This is what you're sending your kids to. And I believe this one, if I'm not mistaken, this was a private school. So for you to think, well, I'll never touch my child, you're mistaken. Caleb, can you please play this for Chris and the audience?
Sound like it's on the 3rd floor. Upstairs. Is that what you said? You said 3rd floor. 650 priority. Listen. 3rd floor of the rear school building. 3rd floor of the rear school building is what a witness said outside. We heard the shots fired. We got an AR type right there. Hey, slow down. Let the long gun go. Is this 3rd floor? 3rd floor. Let the long gun go. Hold this open. 3rd floor. Hold this open. In the library. Suspect, you got him? Is he alive still? Stay back. Stay back. Open it. Mike. They're coming. Hold on.
It's locked. He's got a long weapon. Back up.
Stand by. We're standing outside 309. Hit it. Hit that motherfucker. Knock him down. Stand by. Shots being fired. Let the long gun get in there. Let the long gun. Stop. We have multiple officers here. Hey, watch that, dude. Watch that, back up. Shoot the line, go. Watch out. No. Back up, shotgun the line. Shoot it. We have a lot of backup. Keep everybody down.
Got some muscle on the sword. All open.
Watch out.
2, 3.
Easy. Shots fired. He's right here. He's right there. He's right there. He's right here. He's right on the door. On the wall. Move. Easy. Let the long rifle. Blue, let the long rifle. Let the long rifle. Reload.
I played that long one for Chris because this is not an anomaly, Chris. This is happening in America every single day. What is your reaction to that in conjunction with the product that you offer with your ballistic backpack?
Well, JJ, obviously it's horrifying to see this. You know, even if it was a one-off, it's horrifying. It's horrifying for any parent. It's deeply disturbing. And on that video, I watched it when you sent it over last night, and I heard about, you couldn't quite hear it as well here, but there was over 100 rounds fired by law enforcement at the shooter. And obviously they knew what they were doing. But, you know, the fact is just that the fact that this happens is horrifying, and it's scary. And every time any parent drops their kid off at school, you know, this kind of thing does come to mind. And look, when you brought up Columbine, when that happened, I was living in London, England at the time, and it made the news there. These days, school shootings that happen here don't make the news there. They're just too common. And it's very, you know, it's very sad and it's very scary. But look, I mean, we developed the bulletproof backpack exactly because of this. You know, we were tired of hearing that every kid in the classroom was killed. You know, and the reason that happens is because they have nothing to hide behind, right? I mean, a wooden desk doesn't stop a bullet from an automatic weapon. So we developed a backpack in conjunction with law enforcement, in conjunction with our friends who are Navy SEALs in San Diego, so that this would actually be a device that kids could use to give them a fighting chance, because this is the only thing that does that, right? So look, parents are buying backpacks for their kids anyway, and all those backpacks do is they hold books. And obviously that's required, but they don't do anything else. The backpack we developed has Kevlar panels inside it that have been certified by the NIJ up to level 3A. They can stop a lot of caliber bullets, up to a 44 Magnum handgun, up to a shotgun blast or 9mm automatic weapons fire. But this is exactly why we developed this product, because we wanted to be something that parents could buy to give them some kind of peace of mind when they drop their kid off at school, or when they're at school and they're just thinking about it, or they, God forbid, they hear the worst case scenario over the news that there's an active shooter. And we wanted to also make it affordable, JJ. This backpack is on sale right now, just $199. And look, I mean, you know as well as I do, you go and buy a backpack for your kids. Yeah, you can get some cheap ones, but they generally go from around $100 to up to $400 or $500. And those backpacks, again, all they do is carry books. But this one that we have at sat123.com, this one will actually stop ammunition and could save your kid's life. And that's why we developed it, JJ.
And I will say this about your backpack at sat123.com. And this is just not even somebody that is affiliate sponsor, made a partnership with Sat123. I'm just telling you of a guy that has bought my son backpacks throughout his school years. By week or month 6 or 7 of the school year, I'm like hanging on for dear life. Like, I can't believe that I'm gonna have to go buy a new backpack, right? Another $200, $300 backpack, because it's just thrashed. It's not because he's mishandles it. It's just he's a kid, right? So these backpacks get destroyed. He's had, Chris, his backpack, I got about month 3 from Sat123. So he had it for the good, like a good 7 months. It looks brand new. There's no tearage. There's no, the straps are breaking, nothing. I keep asking my son when he brings it, hey, you have any issues with this backpack? No, Dad, it's great. Does anybody know that you have a ballistic shield? He goes, no one would know, Dad, except I did tell everybody because I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that I have a ballistic shield. And when I let my son go, because I take him to school in the morning, I let him go and I watch him walk through into the school building, there is a sense of, okay, he'll have a fighting chance if something bad happens. And that's what we're trying to do. It's like having a ballistic shield in law enforcement. You have your outer vest on. It's not going to stop everything. It's giving you an opportunity to win. And what is winning? Winning is staying alive. And that's why I love this product. I know you have the sat phones. I know you have the generators. I know you have Faraday packs. I know you have all that. To me, the most prized possession I have is my son. So this backpack is the greatest invention, the greatest product that Sat123 has. It means that much to me.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and that's good to hear. And JJ, just thinking back to it, I mean, if you look at that video, all the law enforcement officers there, they have Kevlar shields, right? They have Kevlar vests. And of course they do, because they understand, they know what they're going and what they're facing. And look, none of us want to see our kids going to school in bulletproof vests. But the reality is that to keep them as safe as we can, something like this bulletproof backpack, you know, that can do the same job, you know, and it's like, you know, like your son said, no one would know he had a bulletproof backpack.
Yeah.
The fact that he told him, it doesn't look like a crazy thing. It's not overtly heavy at all. It weighs the same just about any other backpack, so it's easy for them to carry. It's highly functional. It even has a Faraday pocket in it, so he can put his phone or his devices in there, and people can't steal his data. And again, unfortunately, there are people out there, there are criminals out there who are stealing kids' data to track them, and you know the rest of it. So
yeah.
It's sad and it's awful that there is evil out there. There are people trying to hurt our kids, but you know, the number one way to stop that is to be prepared, protect their data, most importantly, protect their bodies when, you know, God forbid they should be in a situation like we just saw in that video.
No, I agree, and I have one. I have a backpack myself for when I travel, being in strange cars and Ubers, going to airports. These are highly functional or high probability areas where there could be problems. My wife has one too. So it's not a prepper crazy idea that 20 years ago. No, this is reality that we live in. And you're right. There is evil. Will it attack you every single day? No. But what happens when it does attack you? Do you want to be prepared, or do you want to sit there going, why didn't I do this? Why was I not fully prepared? And I think that's one of the great things about SAT123, your company. It's about being prepared. More than anything, it's just what if? What ifs are happening every single day. So that's why I applaud your company.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. I mean, look, like we saw just last night in DC, young couple about to be engaged. They're going to an event, at a museum, and they're gunned down, at 9, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it was, just in a, what you would think would be a safe area right by the Capitol, just gunned down. And again, this can happen absolutely anywhere. So yeah, we developed this bulletproof backpack with kids in mind. But the reality is that wherever you are, you can unfortunately run into a crazed gunman or a lone wolf or whatever it is. And this backpack gives you the ability to, at least, again, like you said, there's nothing that can prevent everything, but this can give you a fighting chance, and that's what we're trying to do.
Chris, thank you so much. Everyone go to sat123.com/JJ, sat123.com/JJ to be prepared. Now go get a flight ticket, go get your plane ticket and get in front of the palm trees and send me a picture so you can make me upset.
Will do, mate. Have a great
All right. You too. Thank you. Bye-bye. Chris from sat123.com, sat123.com. And there I am again. Sat123.com. I really, really encourage everyone to just go to the website. Don't want to buy anything? Don't think you need anything? That's fine. Just go to the website and look at the website. Guess what? When you call Sat123 and you have a question, a problem, a concern, an issue, you're not routed to Coach in India. No, you're routed to sat123.com in America with an English-speaking person from Miami, California, Nevada, wherever. American is going to talk to you. You're not going to push 17 buttons to get to a human being in Bangladesh. You're going to have it ring once or twice, and a customer service rep in America that speaks English and is happy to hear your voice there. Wow. What an incredible idea that is. Sat123.com/JJ. One thing that I do say that Trump has done, and I've named it, I called it the Trump effect. And what is the Trump effect? The Trump effect is what I just showed you at the beginning of this episode. And that is being bold, taking bold action, speaking boldly, being unafraid. And probably the greatest thing that Donald Trump does is he never apologizes. Never apologizes. I call him, this was in his first, I remember telling my wife this, his first term, 26 to 2020. I said, you know who he is? He is our generation's John Wayne. He is incredibly patriotic, loves his country beyond belief, wants to do the right thing, and he never apologizes. Because here's the real dirty secret about evil people. And I'm going to be very clear when I say this. The Democrats are evil people. The left, the Democratic left, are evil people. They just are. I don't care if I lose viewers for that, or next time I go testify in front of Congress, which I never, ever want to have happen again. And they use this and say, well, you just called everybody on the left evil. Yes, I did. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to take my lead from Donald Trump. I'm not apologizing. Period. If you apologize, The left thinks it's weakness, and they will attack you until they kill you. The only way to survive the left is to attack back. I'm not talking physically attack. However, if they physically attack you, you better have the mindset that I have. You come and fight me, this is not going to be like an old school neighborhood brawl. I'm going to fight you until you submit or I kill you. One of the two, it doesn't matter, because that's how I'm trained. And that's my mindset going into a fight. You may be bigger, stronger, more muscles, whatever. I'm going to do everything I can. If I have to gouge your eyes out, if I have to rip your lips off your face, if I have to jam my fingers in your nose and rip your nose sockets out, I will do that. I'll do anything. I got to bite your finger off, I'm going to do it. I'm going to rip your arm off and beat you over the head with it till you submit. I'm going to do that. Be ready, be prepared, have that mindset. You think I'm crazy? You just heard Chris talk about the 2 people killed last night in DC. Well, there's 2 people killed in DC all the time. Yes, true. But this was a Free Palestine nut job that gunned down 2 Jewish people that happened to be staff from the Israeli embassy. So that means that person tracked those 2 Jews from Israel that work for the Israeli embassy and murdered them. So please spare me that, JG, you're talking crazy talk. No, I'm not. You need to be physically ready to go to war. You need to be spiritually ready, and you need to have the ability to articulate in this war. In the way you do, in the way your words have to be concise. Your words have to be bold, and your words have to be piercing in truth. And never, ever backtrack. It's not easy. It's not easy to sit there, especially in front of Congress, and they have the mic and they're sitting there just railing against you, calling you all these names. It's easy to hit that green button and say, okay, please forgive me, I was sorry. Or to hit that green button and say, yeah, I said all that. I said all that because I believed it then and I believe it now. That throws them completely off, because what they're doing is they're thinking, I'm going to make this guy bend a knee to me and then I'm going to eat him alive. But when you say, nope, everything I said is factually true, you're the one that's wrong. You are a mental patient. You are evil. Well, then you win, or at least you begin to win. I'm so tired of Americans getting on their knees. I had this conversation with my son over a year ago. We were watching the remake of Red Dawn. Red Dawn, the first one was great. The second one was good. It was good. It was good as I thought the original, which is rare, right? And there was a scene where one of the guys, Americans, turned and became part of the invasion. And my son asked me, he says, how could anybody do that, Dad? And I said, son, there are more people than you realize that will do anything and everything to stay alive. They will get on their knees and they will beg for mercy, and they will beg and do anything that their aggressor wants. And I said, if you do that, son, you may be free, you may live, but you will be in a prison in your mind for the rest of your life, because you will know, no matter how you try to portray yourself or the people that don't know you, you will never outrun yourself in knowing that you were a coward. And no man wants that hanging around his neck, because it will eat you alive and you will be a prisoner forever. Or, son, or you can stand up and fight. But there is a probability that you will be killed in that fight. But you will never, ever be a prisoner. That's what I implore to you, America. Get off your knees. Those people that are our enemies are not worthy of that. And fight them with every single thing you have. The Trump effect is beginning to trickle its way down from the politicians to normal America. What does this look like? I'm going to show you a quick couple of videos. This is how you talk to people. This is Trump.
Andy Harris said that you didn't adequately convince enough people to vote for the bill, the House Freedom Caucus.
You mean after this speech?
After this speech, that's what
Oh,
she
yeah,
said.
I think so. Well, what do we see at the voters? I think it was a great talk. It wasn't a speech. We talked about things. Who do you work for?
Notice.
Who?
Notice.
I don't even know what the hell that is. You gotta get yourself a real job. Let me tell you.
That's how you handle them. Here's another Trump talking about the congresswoman that's been arrested for assaulting ICE agents. This is exactly how we have to talk.
Oh, give me a break. Did you see her? She was out of control. Those days are over. The days of woke. The days of woke. No, I didn't. The days of woke are over. That woman, I have no idea who she is. That woman was out of control. She was shoving federal agents. She was out of control. The days of that crap are over in this country. We're going to have law and order.
We're going to have law and order. The days of that crap are over. He speaks like us. He is one of us. The media, the Democrat left, and the Democrat Party, and that little weasel standing next to him are not worthy of us. And when we get challenged by them, we have to come full force back at them. Let me tell you another hero, another patriot, another guy that doesn't take any crap, and he's taking his lead from Donald Trump, RFK Jr. Listen to what he says to Senator Murray, the very unattractive, asexual definition of a Democrat, somebody that I don't think she's ever put a stroke of lipstick or a stroke of makeup on her face, and she should somehow try to present herself better than a used mop. Watch RFK Jr. shred her.
Senator, I want to point out that in 2021, at the beginning of his administration, President Biden submitted his budget on May. You know what? You made an accusation of me, and I'm going to answer it.
Okay, I appreciate
On May
that.
28th, he submitted his budget. So our budget. We're a new administration.
Okay, you can.
And I also want to point out.
I have just 2 minutes left. I asked you a specific.
I want to point out something, Senator. You presided here, I think, for 32 years. You presided over the destruction of the health of the American people.
Well,
our people are now the sickest people in the world.
Seriously,
because you have not done your job.
Seriously. That is an
what have you done about it? What have you done about the epidemic of chronic disease?
Mr. Secretary,
what have you done about the epidemic of chronic disease?
Seriously, Madam
Secretary, I would ask you to hold back and let the senator ask the questions.
No, don't hold back. Why? Because those are your rules? Those are your senatorial rules? Who cares? Those aren't laws. Those are your procedural rules. They don't affect me. I'll just keep talking. And I will do what if I ever get in front of Congress again, which I told my wife to shoot me in the back of the head if I ever agree to do that. But if I do, I'm going to use that tactic for sure. I'm just going to keep talking. And I'm going to keep leveling accusations. Hey, you mop looking. You know who she looks like? That woman looks like, remember the Muppet, the blonde Muppet that you couldn't see her eyes? She's dancing all over frantically. That's who she looks like. What a great question. What have you done in 32 years to eradicate the death spiral, the horrible health spiral of Americans? What have you done? You've had 32 years. You haven't had like 3 weeks or even 3 years. You've been there, man, for 32 years. 32 years, you've done nothing. And then now you're going to argue with RFK Jr. about he's not being effective. He's been there 18 days? 120? Hell, I don't care. 1,000 days. You've been there 32 years, sweetheart. That's like Kamala Harris saying, well, yeah, everything's bad and we're going to make changes. Well, no. You're in the power structure right now, you moron. And that's the point. That's the point RFK Jr. and Trump always do, is they show you, you're idiots. You are incompetent morons. Why would I give you an inch? Why would I care about your senatorial procedures in testimony? Why? Why do I have to hit that stupid button that allows me to talk? Why can't I just speak to you openly and call you the things that need to be called out? 32 years, ma'am, you've been in this position and you've done nothing. How's that possible? And maybe a bigger question is, why are we allowing anybody to serve in a position of authority and power for 32 years? Why? On both parties. Mitch McConnell is still the senator in Kentucky. He has already proven that he is physically, mentally unprepared, has no stamina, can't be in this job because he has stroked out multiple times, meaning his mind is compromised. Where is he? We haven't seen him now, I think, on 2 or 3 months now. Where is that old demented bag of skin? Same question I want to ask about Biden. Same questions I had with Biden, I have with Mitch McConnell. Look what the Democrats did. They wheeled in Senator Byrd, the great Klansman, not some card-carrying Klansman, the grand poobah, the grand wizard, Senator Byrd from West Virginia. 96 years old, wheeling him in, drooling, had no ability to speak. Dianne Feinstein, 93 years old before she dies. You hear a staffer telling her, don't say anything, just say yes or say no. Now we got this woman, 32 years in, hasn't done a damn thing, lecturing RFK Jr. But RFK Jr. has the Trump effect. And the Trump effect boils down to this. I know I'm right. I know I'm right because I have experience, researched, and I'm educated on it. And I know who my enemy is, and you are my enemy. You are the enemy of America, and now I'm going to attack you. That's the Trump effect. Here's another rising star. Byron Donalds. Did I pronounce Byron Donald from Florida? Congressman, going to run for governor, and he will win. Here he is talking about the auto pen.
Sir, when you think about the scale of this scandal, where do you think it will go down, and how do you think people will remember the Biden presidency now that we know how cognitively he impaired he was throughout the duration of his 4 years?
The auto pen scandal is going to be the biggest scandal in American history, bigger than Watergate, bigger than Iran-Contra, bigger than anything else, because you had the deep state Democrat oligarchs running this country and not somebody who was quote unquote elected. You simply can't have it. That's not the way the United States of America is allowed to operate. And my number one question is, Kamala Harris, what did you know and when did you know it? Where have you been? What were you doing? Because it is the vice president's responsibility, as well as the cabinet, to alert the American people to an inability of the commander-in-chief to do his job.
That's being bold. That's speaking the truth boldly. The greatest scandal in American history. And I agree with him. I don't think that's hyperbole. I think it is absolutely the truth. Would congressmen talk this boldly before Trump? I would say no. I would just say no. Byron Donald speaking truth, fiery truth. Joe Biden was not running our country. Then who was? And then the people that were hitting the auto pen signature button did not have that authority. Therefore, every pardon, every judge approved, every war, every policy, every new law, everything is null and void. If you and I got into a contractual agreement and then I was able to show that it was fraudulent, meaning you didn't sign it, you auto-penned it, someone in your family auto-penned it, and then there was a discrepancy in the payments or the services due, I could go to court and show and prove that you didn't sign that contract. Well, guess what? Then that contract is null and void. That could be a new porch on in my backyard or a pool I put in. If that standard applies to those contractual agreements, are you telling me it doesn't apply to pardons, to laws, to policies? Are you kidding me? Of course, everything is null and void. That's why it's going to be the greatest event or crime in American history. We are going to sit here, if we have a lawful country, which I do not believe we do, but if we somehow get back to law and order, then we are going to see a complete deconstruction of the last 4 years, and that is going to be painful. It is going to create incredible violence on the left, and it's going to cause chaos and disorder until we can rectify and crush it. Buckle up, America. All of that's coming. And before I move on from the auto pen, I want you to look at this video of Joe Biden, just so you have some context and you haven't forgotten already about his mental decline. Watch this. Bring back memories? Can you believe the American public was sold this bill of goods and agreed that he was okay? All the while he had prostate cancer. So at that time, he was full on dementia or Alzheimer's, full-blown prostate cancer. What narcotics was he on? That man you saw right there signed almost 3,000 pardons in one day. In one day, I think it was January 17th, if I'm not mistaken. January 17th, he signed 2,490. I believe that's the number. Somewhere around 24, 25, 2,600 in one day. That man sat there and read almost 2,600 criminal cases and decided to give pardons. That guy right there. The greatest scandal in American history is about to be uncovered, and it's going to come down to a very simple question. When all this evidence is presented to America and to the judicial system, to the DOJ, is anyone going to be arrested? And sadly, I will tell you, if I had to place money on it, I would place it on no. Because they're all involved in it. All of them. How do we take our power back? We talk about this on our show. We talk about it with Kim Yater on Take Your Power Back show. How do we take our power back? One way we take our power back is utilizing our money. Stop spending your money at the box stores. Stop spending your money on products made by companies that hate you, in stores that hate you. Love Costco, big Costco guy. But I know if I went and tried to get a job at Costco because I'm a big white guy, that I would be at the end of the DEI that they still propagate in their hiring practices. Why would I go and spend money there? Why wouldn't I go to a company that makes better products for less money and that love America? And their products are made in America, and they're made green without all the metals and plastics in the food and on and on. Why wouldn't I go to a company that aligns with my values and does not give parts of their profit, which is my money, to BLM, Planned Parenthood, defund the police, Democrat Party, on and on and on? Why wouldn't I not give my money to patriotsmade.com and support an American company for Americans that love America? patriotsmade.com/JJ, patriotsmade.com/JJ. Got like 4.5 minutes left, man. Fast show. I love it when it's fast. That means I'm doing good, at least in my mind. I'm doing good. What else is happening as we close out another week? Donald Trump is trying to deport 50 million people, and the courts are still trying to stop Donald Trump. I want you to listen to his spokeswoman from DHS lay it out bare with the Trump effect right behind her.
A local judge in Massachusetts is trying to force the United States to bring back these uniquely barbaric monsters who present a clear and present threat to the safety of the American people and American victims. While we are fully compliant with the law and court orders, it is absolutely absurd for a district judge to try to dictate the foreign policy and national security of the United States of America. These are the monsters that the district judge is trying to protect. The contrast is brutally stark. President Trump and Secretary Noem are working every single day to get these vicious criminals off of American streets. And while activist judges are on the other side fighting to get them back onto United States soil. Before I turn it over to Acting Director Todd Lyons, I would like to remind the journalists in this very room to do your job. We gave you the names of these monsters as you have right in front of you. Now tell the stories of the innocent Americans who they victimized. I implore you to stop doing the bidding of these disgusting individuals. Tell the stories of the innocents. It's the American victims who actually matter.
Wow. Trump effect. Barbaric monsters. I call them savages, but I'll go with barbaric monsters any day of the week. The left, the judges, the men and women in black robes that are nothing but men and women in black robes, are telling the president he needs to bring these people back or stop the deportations of child rapists, murderers. Who's the enemy, America? Who is the enemy? It's very clear. There is no, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know who the bad guys are. Oh, no, you very well know who the bad guys are. You know who's evil in your community. You know who's evil in the federal government and state government. You know it. There's no more hiding from this anymore. It's good versus evil. It's God versus Satan. That's just the truth. Caleb, I want you to please show this. This falls in line with everything I'm saying. This is a Trump put this commercial out or this video out of a vile anti-American Bruce Springsteen. And Bruce Springsteen fell. He's like 900 years old, fell and on stage. Watch what Donald Trump puts out. This is the Donald Trump effect. This is how we mock them. This is how we just attack them. Just endlessly attack everyone that is anti-American. Watch this video. It's perfect. This meme.
There he is.
Is anything better than Trump? Is there anything better than Trump? Well, I think the greatest thing about better than just Trump is the new AI craziness that I love, and that's baby Trump. As we head into a long weekend, Memorial Weekend, for all the people that gave their lives for America, I want you to enjoy this because America is great. It's because of us and the man that we put in office. Enjoy baby Trump as we go into the weekend. God bless you.
They're saying I took a $400 million bribe. Can you believe it? First it was Russia, then Ukraine, now this. The fake news just keeps getting better. Let me tell you something. If someone offered me $400 million to put America first, I'd say, make it 5, and I'll throw in NATO too. But seriously, folks, what they call a bribe, I call a deal. That's what I do. That's why the economy was booming, the borders were secure, and the world respected us. You know who really took bribes? The people who sent billions to China while your jobs vanished. The people who made sure you paid more for gas, groceries, and everything else.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.